I'm an interior designer. I'm excited to show you how I designed my tiny dream home, and maybe you'll find some inspiration for yours. I run my own business and I have always done that from home. So I knew I needed a really kind of nice designated office space to do that in here. This one stood out to me for two reasons. One is that the existing layout already kind of worked with what I was looking for. And the other was all the natural light that the windows and skylights allow in. It's a never-ending journey, even when you think the project's done. Like, stuff comes up, frozen pipes, mice infestations. You just never know what the next day will bring. And it's made me definitely have more confidence in myself as a person and what I can do by myself. I feel like it's grown me personally and professionally to the next level. I'm Sarah. This is my tiny home. Let's go take a look. So as you enter, this is the living room and office space. Then you move into the kitchen here. In the back, we have the bedroom, and then in the very back is the bathroom. Before the trailer, I lived in a studio apartment that was probably about 800 or 900 square feet. The biggest changes for me downsizing even further into this kitchen was, of course, storage. I did downsize. I just have less stuff, so I don't feel like I'm neglecting anything, but I have pots and pans. I just have one of each for the most part, whereas before I had multiples. I would say it was helpful for me before I moved into this space, putting aside, I actually mapped out, like in my closet with my kitchen stuff, the things I knew I needed to keep. And so I had an idea of about what space I needed to store those things when I was looking. In regards to living in the space for almost 4 years now and kind of reorganizing, I have not moved a whole lot around, but I do try a few times a year to like go through things and reorganize them. The drawers and cabinets can get a little chaotic. And one of the things I love about a space this size is just it really forces you to constantly be purging. But in terms of like relocating things, how I set it up works really well, but I have a background in that. I set up houses for a living, so I have a good sense of how people will move through the space and reach for things. We redid the cabinets. Part of why I picked the cane webbing was I love the texture that it brings to the space, but it's also really great for circulation because the air can go through. Under here is, of course, all the plumbing for the sink, especially in the winter months. It's important that that stuff stays warm. So it just really helps to have the airflow through all of the cabinets as well. Cooking for one, I'm actually okay with the amount of counter space that is here. This sink, I knew I wanted something that pulled out to clean. It also comes with like a wood board that fits in the sink, so it can continue the countertop so you have the whole surface should you need it. I don't need it that often. For the level and frequency that I cook real meals, I would say it does just fine. It might be a little tight for someone who spends a lot of time in the kitchen. You can usually do about one dish at a time. So I have my fridge on this side with a microwave on top. Over here, I have my crock pot and blender underneath. This is my 3-burner stove with the oven. And despite everyone's advice not to use real tile, I put in a real tile backsplash. And we just secured it really well and it's held up great. I personally didn't really need a huge living room space. I wanted a cozy area to be chill and read. And underneath here, I have a lot of crafts stored and stuff like that. But the main focus of this area for me was to have a workspace. And part of why I didn't build in the desk is so that if I were ever to sell it, future owner or resident may not want a quarter of their square footage to be an office. So because the desk is not built in, it's easy to be adapted, and I just tie it down when I move the trailer. I work with homeowners in all size homes, and some of them are investors and looking to turn them into Airbnbs. Some people are looking for their full-time dream house residence, but I would say especially in tiny homes, if you are looking for a tiny home, it is really important that you hone in on your specific use for the space, what your daily life looks like, what are the non-negotiables, what are the needs and wants. For me, the need for a big kind of desk and designated office space was a primary goal. A lot of people do build their own layouts, and if that's your plan, let's strategize at that point. If you know you're going to demo the inside of something, or you're buying a box trailer or something that comes as a blank slate, we can kind of work the design around that. I would say getting comfortable with whether you can take on a project like that. That is a different project than what I did, which is looked for something that had the existing layout in place. I knew I could work with that. And because they didn't have anything built in here, it was just a couple of recliners, I knew it would be really easy to build in my own sofa, bring in a desk that worked for me. When I'm in this space, I am primarily sitting in this chair. Elvis is up here, and I am usually working. I am not one to give any advice on a work-life balance because I don't have that. Part of it for me is I just love my work, so it makes it even harder to like sit back and not want to do something for my business. There are times where I will kind of have a movie night. I also have the new but original Nintendos, so sometimes I hook it up to my computer and play Mario Brothers. But I would say primarily on most nights when I'm ready to wind down, I move it to the bed. As we move down the hallway, this is my closet. I have hanging clothes here, and up top I have all of my purses and sweaters. Over here, this is my coat closet, and then up here is my sweatshirts, and I have my linen storage. I was ready to not be a renter. I wanted to have something of my own and not just be throwing money down the tubes. I've lived in big cities most of my life, and when I add up what I've spent on rent, it's pretty depressing. And I also knew I was going to be leaving Portland through my job that I was laid off from during the pandemic. It was just a point in life where I didn't really know what or where was next. So finding an apartment, it just didn't make sense. When the world was turned upside down, I kind of figured, why not? And that's when I actually started looking for a tiny home and chose this particular Airstream because I really loved the layout. I loved all the natural light. So I started looking, and this is an Avion, so it's not technically an Airstream, but it is a silver bullet. And the owner, I found it on Facebook Marketplace. I met the owner. He was kind enough to let me have it inspected, and I pulled the trigger. I knew for myself that I wanted the flexibility of being able to move whatever I was living in by myself. And I had thought about van life, but I also wanted a separation of a vehicle that I didn't take my home everywhere with me. I also thought about parking. I had looked into it a little bit, and that is one of the hardest parts about living tiny if you don't have your own land, is finding places that you can legally park, especially with the hookups that you want. And so it just made more sense for me personally to have the travel trailer type situation. So there is the upfront expense of buying a tiny home, or like I did, buying the shell and renovating it. But month to month, I come out spending about half as much as somebody would spend in rent for a 1-bedroom apartment. The challenges I would say that I've gotten a little more comfortable with are that something's always happening. And especially in the winter months, if I leave, which I do travel a lot for my job, there's a solid chance that a pipe's gonna burst or something like that. So just kind of rolling with the punches as opposed to like taking everything so personally and like, oh, it's all over, it's all falling apart, has been helpful. The other biggest struggle that has really come up, probably because I've been in one spot for so long, but also I'm out in the mountains, not in an RV park, is I had a nice little family of mice decide to roomie up with me. That was last summer when I discovered one, and it was a dead one, so the smell came first, and it was awful. I've tried to be proactive, but that has been a battle where I'll hear a snap and it's the trap and they're here. So it's just a matter of trying to keep them out there. I don't know if it's the dog and the food and they just like my place. I'm a good roomie. I can't blame them, but that has been an ongoing challenge of living tiny. When designing my bedroom space, there wasn't a whole lot to design. I did know when looking for my tiny house, going back to just kind of knowing what you need, I knew that I did not want something that had to be set up every night. I wanted something that was going to stay. Even though it eats up a lot of the square footage, I knew at the end of a long day, that was the last thing I wanted to deal with. So I think it's really important to think through what it's going to feel like in the majority of your day-to-day life to have something that either has to be packed away or made. That wasn't for me. I went with pretty neutral decor, and I love textured bedding and warm, kind of cozy colors. So this is an RV full-sized bed, and there is storage underneath that was already existing. I have bins with my shoes that I reach from under here. Technically, there is also access from the outside for people to store things, but I've never had the key for that, so interior only. When I come back here, I actually feel that this is kind of separated, but I guess for somebody who's used to having doors to close and that sort of separation, that might feel different. This did come with, I think there used to be some kind of curtain or divider that I had actually planned on adding, but once I was in this space, it's just me. So it's like, when I'm back here, it's okay to see out. If anything, I feel like it motivates me to keep things tidy at the end of the day, because there's nothing worse than laying in bed looking at a big mess. For the bathroom, I kept the existing layout in terms of cabinetry. The shower here had a legitimate bathtub in place, so it was fiberglass, so that was a really fun thing to have to get out of here. And then I actually switched, the shower head was right here. We plumbed everything over to this wall, so the shower head could be on this side. I'm a little bit taller, so just allows me to get under the shower head a little bit better. And my favorite thing in here is probably this light fixture that I found on Etsy. I also absolutely love my pink penny tile floors. I was advised by almost everybody not to put tile in my bathroom. It's gonna fall apart. I decided just to do the floor, and it does continue straight into the shower. There's a little bit of cracking, but only the caulk has cracked. The penny tile has stayed in place, and I still love it to this day. I have kind of all my stuff in this cabinet, and I do use bins for my bottles and stuff like that. And one of the things I think I struggled with most, even in a studio apartment, was having a ton of bottles and products. And this has really helped me be more mindful of like buying a bunch of product that I don't use or need. Depends where you are in terms of what hookups you're gonna have. I do have a holding tank, so if I was somewhere that didn't have hookups, I would have some amount of water. I've always lived places that have full hookups, so I'm hooked up to the well water that is on the property that I live on, and that supplies the shower and the toilet. This is a normal RV toilet, so it is not like with a big tank and that sort of thing, and the flusher is a step flush at the bottom of the toilet. The winter is hard to shower, not because the water is not hot. I have a great water heater that's pretty big. That will definitely be something to consider if you like longer showers or you have multiple members of your family. You definitely want a bigger hot water heater. The water's hot, but once you get out, the rest of the trailer, I have not fixed the furnace. So I use space heaters in the winter, and it just feels, you know, this was built in 1973. It's all original windows, so it's just not insulated in the same way as a house. So it's drafty. So I go to the gym and yoga studio almost every day anyway. So in the winter, I just really prioritize showering there. This is a 1973 Avion LeGrand. It is 29 feet long, about 7.5 feet wide. I chose this because I knew I wanted something that I could tow by myself, and also that I'd have flexibility in parking. With an actual tiny house, it can be harder to find spots. RV parks may not allow them, and you need a bigger vehicle. So I knew that this was probably the biggest size that would work for me. I don't move it a lot. It actually turns out that it's kind of a pain in the butt to pack everything up. And it's very stressful towing it now that it's done. When I towed it across the country to renovate it, it wasn't as scary because I hadn't done a lot yet, but now it stresses me out. So I've been in this spot for a few years now, hopefully be here until I move on to the next. Why I am still living tiny primarily is now, of course, I've overcome the hurdle of the upfront expense and project of it. So that's not there, and I'm still living. If I wanted to live differently, it would be at least twice as much monthly. So that is a big component, and I like how it makes me live. I always describe humans as gases will fill the space we have. And when I had more space, I certainly had a lot more clothes, a lot more just stuff. I don't even know what I had more of. I just had more stuff. So I like that this lifestyle and living in a space like this has sort of naturally forces you to do purges and to get rid of stuff. And I I wouldn't say I'm the best about in the moment, the one in, one out type thing, but I am someone, and I always have been, that like I'll go through my closet a few times a year and just kind of shed things that I don't use. I started my business before I lived tiny, but obviously doing this project and moving into this space, I have kind of niched into the small spaces. I have a really good understanding of them, and I love helping people think through those decisions. Above all, I am not a sizist. I take projects of all different sizes. I think my passion lies in helping people achieve their goal with their property or space, whatever that may be, whether they're looking for generating great revenue as an Airbnb, or they're moving into their tiny dream home and want it to function super specifically for them. I am so passionate, and I feel like it's an honor of a lifetime to be able to guide people through that process. I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for looking around. You can find me on Instagram at Suka Interior Design.